Hello, trader. I hope you are doing good. It's my hope that you had a fantastic week. So, today is on Sunday, and as usual, we do have our top down analysis on every Sunday. And I also, in case I have an update, I do also come on Wednesday to give you an update on what I'm watching on the market. So, today being on Sunday, we're going to start our analysis with our good friend here, Euro USD. So, as usual, as a trader, every weekend that when you go to the chart to do your analysis, you want to clear everything on your chart and then you start your analysis afresh. And that is exactly what we are going to do today. So you can see we are on Euro USD on daily time frame, and I've deleted everything on my chart, and we're gonna do this top down analysis together. So what are we seeing the Euro USD doing on a daily time frame? We can see that this is our last bullish break of structure to the upside. All right, and then we see the Euro USD giving us a change of character to the downside. So that one means what? The trend of the market has shifted from bullish to bearish. So once we have this change of character here, what are we seeing? We are seeing Euro USD coming to this supply zone here, reacting from that supply zone, and since then we have been selling to the downside, and currently we have a break of structure to the downside. So we have a BOS to the downside. So meaning at this point of time, this is our protected high. So we have that one as our protected high. Why is it protected? Because you can see swept this high as liquidity, and you also see it sweeping also this high as liquidity. So meaning these are very strong high. It's our protected high since it swept this internal or liquidity around this area. So having that in mind, what do you do, guys? You know the drill, guys. Once the market takes out the external structure, we expect the market to come for a pullback. And where do we expect this pullback to come to? At least to the 50% of fib retracement 2, whereby at this point of level here, we can see we have an order block that is sitting at the equilibrium there. All right. So I said, oh, if you have been here, you know very well how we mark our point of interest. If you want to mark your point of interest easily, just go to one time frame higher. For this case, it's gonna be weekly time frame. Look for a point of interest from the weekly time frame, right? So from the weekly time frame, you can agree with me that this order block is already mitigated. So you see this buy kind of already tagged to this order block. It's already mitigated. We have this order block here, which also was mitigated by this buy candle. So the only order block that you can see from the weekly time frame is this candle here. So we have this last buy candle that led to this break, the downside. So that becomes our order block. All right. So now when you go back to the daily, so we're gonna refine this order block that we have marked from the weekly time frame. So which is gonna land us to this order block that you can see here on the daily time frame. So this becomes our order block. All right. So we are done with the external analysis of this market. So we start paying attention to the internal structure of this time frame. You can see we have an internal break around that area. We also have an internal break here. We also have an internal break of structure around this area. And then last of all, you can see we have this fractal break of structure around that area. So what did we say, guys? We said if daily time frame want to come for a pullback, then the 4-hour swing has to shift bullish, and that is how you confirm that this is our swing low. So at this point of time, you cannot confirm that this is our swing low, because even if you start considering this one, this last fractal break of structure, you can see that the market has not yet closed above here, so you cannot conclude that this is our fractal low. All right. All right, so internally, we can see that this market is very bearish because of this last fractal break. And if I look closely, I can see that the market is reacting from this supply zone, right? So for the whole of this week, it has been consolidating inside this zone. So at this point of time, we're expecting this coming week, the Euro USD to either explode to the upside or push to the downside. So we're going to see that on a lower time frame, because we are going to react with what the market is doing, right? As a retail traders, our work is to react with what the market is doing. All right. So if the market is going to show us a bullish trend, then that is what we are going to trade. If the market shows us a bearish trend, that is exactly what we are going to trade. So at this point of time, now we're gonna go to the 4-hour time frame. What are we seeing on the 4-hour time frame? You can see clearly whatever seems to be fractal on the daily time frame, now it becomes a swing structure here on the 4-hour time frame. And you can see very clearly that this is the last break of structure from the 4-hour time frame, right? So if I can highlight my swing structure here from the 4-hour time frame, that is my dealing range. We have this high going all the way to this low, and if I look closely, I can see that that high is a strong high because we have a fractal sweep of liquidity here. Market swept this fractal high because we have a fractal break here. So we had a sweep of that high before market giving us this internal break of structure. So I will identify that as my internal break of structure to the downside. So what am I seeing the market doing here? If you remember closely the analysis that we did last Sunday, we had this bullish break of structure here. And I remember mentioning to you guys that these are very strong internal break of structure. So internally, we can see that market, this is the structure that is in control of this market is at this point. You see that we have this last break of structure, internal bullish break of structure. So it means what? This, although it seems to be internal on the 4-hour time frame, but when you go to the 1-hour time frame, it becomes a swing structure with a very strong low here because of course we see it sweeping liquidity here. All right. Someone might be asking me, why are you marking this as your liquidity? Because if you look closely, we have market sweeping this buy side liquidity first. So it means from down here all the way to this eye is just one movement. So this liquidity is still within this impulsive move. So pullback started here, push down, swept this low before market came back to sweep the high. What are we seeing? We have seen the Euro USD coming to this supply zone here, right? Not supply, but this demand zone. We have market tapping to that demand zone. And if I look closely, if I go to the 1-hour time frame, now you see guys, you see now this structure that was seems to be internal from the 4-hour, now when you go to the 1-hour becomes the swing of the 4-hour time frame. All right, the swing of the 1-hour time frame, we have this as well, break of structure. So you see market coming to this supply zone. What are we seeing? Are we getting an internal change of character? You can see that this is the last break of structure here. We have that one as the last break of structure, and then you see market giving us a change of character to the upside, right? So that's a market structure shift, meaning this is our last internal break of structure. Was this one a strong BOS? Of course it is, because you can see a sweep of this high. We have a sweep of liquidity before market push to give you a break, then later on gave us a change of character. So at this point of time, I can see that the market failed to come to this area because for me, I had this point of interest here. So I was waiting for a market to come to this area on Wednesday, but unfortunately, Euro USD never tapped to this zone and pushed ahead and gave us a break to the upside. So to me, this new BOS that we are seeing here, I'm seeing it to be a fake BOS because I don't see this law sweeping any liquidity. So for me, I'm gonna be using this law as my inducement that will act as liquidity. So meaning this demand zone that I'm seeing here, for me it's gonna be a smart money trap. And if the market wants to use this zone, then I will have to look for a very strong confirmation inside this area. But if the Euro USD will push down a little bit to come to this area, take this liquidity, then this zone will be a very good zone for us to look for that buying opportunity. So as at now, I can see that the Euro USD, the internal structure of the Euro USD is bullish, and we're gonna be trading what we see. All right. So we said, remember, we mentioned now what we are trying to say here. Until the market breaks this low, we are still bullish, right? Until we see the market taking out this low here from the 1-hour, the market is still bullish. So that now I will be watching for this zone come when the market opens and see what the market will do around this area. So internally, what are we seeing? Internally from this zone, for those who want to look out for uh, a counter trend, you can see that this is our last internal break of structure, right? So I also had this setup, but unfortunately I never took it because of the rules that I have with the time of the day when I'm supposed to take the trade, and also to add on that, it was on Friday and it was coming to a close of the market, and I don't like taking trades on Fridays or towards the end of the day. So going to the 15 minutes time frame, what are we seeing? You can see that this is our last internal break to the downside. We see the market sweeping this eye during the London session. We have a sweep of this eye because you can see we have an internal break here. So market swept that high before pushing to give you this break. So this was my zone. You can see we have that buy candle there before the sell. That was my point of interest. And you can see that the market tapped to that zone past New York session. And also it was on Friday. So unfortunately, I never took that entry. Immediately I saw market coming to the closure of New York session. I had to delete my order from that area. Right. So now uh, we are expecting this zone to push this market to the downside. So that was supposed to be the setup. Then you target this smart money trap around this area. That was supposed to be the setup on Euro USD. I'm still expecting this zone to push Euro USD to the downside, at least to these zones. Or someone might be asking, what if you are looking for confirmation from this area? So that means you go to the lower time frame, from the 5 minutes time frame. And from the 5 minutes time frame, you can see we have a last fractal break around this area. This becomes fractal because this is not a valid pullback. So we have a fractal break around this area. We have a fractal change of character. Market has come for the pullback. We have swept this high. So if, for instance, the market will open and push down, uh-huh. If the market will open and push down to give you this break to the downside here, break this low. Now we'll have a strong break of structure. I don't know whether you are getting. If the market will push down to break this low, once the market opens, now we'll have a very strong break of structure. So you join the pullback. You can use this as your demand zone. This one as your breaker block. This candle here, the last sell candle which led to this sweep of this high, you can use this as your entry zone. Then you target this low to the downside. Okay, so is that now we'll be looking for short-term sells for us to buy from this area, of course, with a confirmation from the lower time frame. So I want us to confirm this analysis that we are having here. Remember, we are saying we'll be looking for buys on Euro USD. So we want to confirm whatever we are having here from the DXY. So what is the DXY doing, guys? If you look at the DXY, let me start from the 4 hour. So from the 4 hour, we saw this was our last break of structure, which led to this change of character. Later on, we saw market coming to this supply zone around this area. All right, sweeping this one as our fractal liquidity. We have a sweep of liquidity. Also, market swept this high as liquidity, and now we are having a break to the downside. All right. So if you look closely, we are using this zone as our inducement. That is the same zone that we have seen on Euro USD. So for me, I would like to see this zone being used as a smart money trap. That zone, I want to see market using that zone as a smart money trap, right? Just to come and sweep liquidity above this high, then react from this fair value gap, which is also an inversion fair value gap around that area. React from this fair value gap, and then we look for entry confirmation from that zone. So when you go to the 1 hour time frame, that fair value gap here on 1 hour time frame becomes an order block. So we have a very good order block that is resting above this zone. So that is why if you look at internally, if I refine this zone from the 1 hour, it becomes this zone, right? It is the same zone that we have seen on Euro USD. So what are we seeing here? This is the internal structure that we have seen on Euro USD. We have this internal break here, which swept this fractal low, meaning we have this zone as a very strong low. And you can see market coming to this inversion fair value gap, and is getting a reaction from there. We have that inversion fair value gap that is resting around that area. Market is reacting from there. So what are we expecting? We are anticipating this zone to be able enough to push this market up, either to react from this zone. I'm expecting to show a short-term sell from that area. Then we break, we tap from here, and then now we crash down. So that is my view on DXY. All right, you know very well. If you maybe you are confused, don't know what is the correlation between the DXY and dollar. So DXY will just acts as a driver to the dollar pairs, right? So if the DXY is bearish, you're expecting the dollar pairs to be bullish, the likes of Euro USD, GBP, USD. So moving to the next pair for today, which is gonna be the GBP USD. All right. So what are we seeing on the GBP USD? All right. So if you look closely, the GBP USD, this was our last bullish break of structure. which led to this change of character. Market pushed up, reacted from this order block here. You see, you have that for daily order block there. So we reacted from there, and then we sold off. From there, we had our internal break, internal change of character. Then market gave us another break of structure around this area. All right. But if you look at this break of structure, are we seeing different guys here? If you look at this pullback never swept any liquidity, right? This pullback never swept any liquidity. All right. You cannot compare this break with this break. This change of character is strong enough because first of all, we have a sweep of this internal structure before market giving you a break, right? So now, if we have to mark correctly, this is gonna be acting as your fake BOS. We have that one as our fake break of structure. Why? Because this I never swept liquidity. That's why you are seeing the market is closing above there. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating the market to come to this supply zone that we are seeing around this area, and then we look for sales from there to target all this low. So my buyers on GBP USD, I'm also looking for buying opportunity. All right, because if the DXY is selling me to be bullish, there is no need for me to start looking for selling opportunity on this pair. Uh, there is no need for me to start looking for, or if the DXY is telling me to be bearish, then it means I'm supposed to be bullish on dollar pairs. All right, so what am I seeing? And remember, those sales that we are looking for on DXY, they are just short-term sales for us to buy because the overall trend is bullish. So whatever is happening is just a pullback. That is the same thing we are doing here, guys. This is just a pullback for a market to come to this zone, and then we look for selling opportunity around that area, of course, with the confirmation. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, we have got this last internal break of structure, which is a very strong one because we see sweeping this internal structure before pushing to give you a break. So we have this one as your zone. We also have this structure here. We have that order block around that area also. All right. So I'm still anticipating to see this zone failing. All right. I'm still anticipating to see that zone failing. Why is that? Because I can't see liquidity above that zone of ours. If you look closely, we cannot see liquidity above this zone. There is no any structure that was formed. You cannot compare this zone with this one because for this one, we have this internal relative equal lows that is resting above our order block, right? So for me, I'm anticipating this zone to be used also as a smart money trap, all right, to trap the hard buyers, only the market to push a little bit down to this zone. So if the market wants to use this zone, then it has to give us a very strong change of character from this area for us to look for buys. So come the opening of the market, we are expecting to see a bullish dollar to come to these areas, and then we'll be looking for selling opportunity from this area, of course, if the market gives us a confirmation. So I believe by Wednesday, if I see anything good on market, I will again come again here and give you the update on what has happened. All right, so that is all on dollar pairs. So the next pair is gonna be gold. So for our good friends that trade gold, this is your pair. So let's start from the daily time frame. So what are we seeing gold doing from the week daily time frame? I'm gonna be focusing on this zone alone here. So if you want to understand more details on how to analyze this pair, or you want to get a detailed analysis on gold, you can revisit the last video that I made on last Sunday on the top-down analysis. I believe I broke down the analysis on gold in detail, so you can really watch that video. But for today, we are just going to focus on this one because this is what we're gonna be trading for this new coming week. So what are we seeing? From this time frame, you can see that this is the last break of structure to the downside. We see that this is a very strong high. Why is that? Because you have see it sweeping this fractal high before pushing to give us a break, meaning this is a very strong high. All right. After that, from the daily time frame, you can see we have this order block here. The last buy which led to this break of structure becomes our order block. So we saw gold coming to that area, reacting from that zone where you can still refine it to this zone from the 4-hour time frame. And I believe when you go to the 15 minutes time frame, you will see an M formation around that area or a change of character from that zone. And since then, gold has been selling to the downside. Okay, Gold has been pushing to the downside. You see now, currently, this is our last break of structure on gold. The internal BOS, sorry, not change of character, but a break of structure. That is our last internal break of structure. And if you look closely, that internal break of structure also swept this liquidity. So we have a sweep of this high before market push to break the low to the downside. So what are we seeing? So we can see that we have a very nice order block that is resting here, which is a 4-hour order block. We have this 4-hour order block around that area that was already been tapped by the market on Friday. So if you want mark your this high, this becomes your protected high. Of course, that is our protected high. When you go to 1 hour time frame, what are we seeing from 1 hour time frame? All right, so we have our break to the downside, of course, there. Then this is our liquidity here. You can see we have a liquidity zone above there, which has already been swept by this buy movement here. From the 1 hour time frame, we still have this zone, and then I can see we also have this zone around this area from the 1 hour time frame. So I have those 2 points of interest to watch once the market opens. All right. So because we cannot just start selling here blindly because you don't know what the market will do. And if I pick my fib, I place from the high to the low, I can see really clearly that we are still at the discount, right? So we're still expecting more buys, at least for the market to tap to the 50%, right? The 50% of this fib retracement tool, right? Since after that, if the market will give us a 15 minutes change of character or that M formation, this is what we mean. If we get this M formation inside this zone, either this zone or this zone, we'll be looking for that selling opportunity on gold. Okay. Also, don't forget that internally, let me go to the 4 hour. Let me remove all this. Internally, this was our internal break of structure around this area, and the market was reacting is currently reacting from this demand zone that is sitting down there. Okay. So if this demand zone wants to push this market to the upside, then it has to break this high. If we break this high, then that means this internal structure is still in control, right? But until then, we are going to trade what we see. And what are we seeing? We are seeing this internal break of structure here to the downside. So that means we're going to be paying attention to this current structure that we are seeing. So paying attention to the external structure that we are seeing here, we are very bearish, and this is our target. This is our sell side target where we expect the gold to come and take out this low. So let us be observant and see what the market will do within those two zones that we have marked. We have this order block here from 1 hour, and we also have this order block here also from the 1 hour. So those are the 2 points of window that we'll be watching on gold once market opens. So that is it, guys, on gold. So I have a BTC. Although currently we have this running trade on BTC, I can just take you through what is happening. So from the daily time frame, what are we seeing? So from the daily time frame, you can see that this is our last break of structure to the downside. This one, we have this one is our daily swing structure coming from this swing high all the way to this swing low. So looking at the internal structure of the daily time frame, you can see that this is the last internal break of structure. And remember we said if the daily swing wants to come for a pullback, then the 4-hour swing has to shift bullish, right? So until we break this high, we are still bearish from the 4-hour time frame. So when I go to the 4-hour time frame, what am I seeing? So from the 4-hour time frame, we have this one as our protected high, which swept this liquidity before coming to break this low to the downside, right? So from the 4-hour time frame, we have this one as our strong high around this area, okay? And when I look at the market around this area, market has not yet shown us any indication of coming for a pullback of selling, because if you look at the internal of the 4 hour still, it's very bullish, guys. So you see this is the last break of structure to the upside, okay? Let me go to the 1 hour. You can see very clearly that this is the last break of structure here to the upside. So we had this zone, or we had this demand zone from the 4-hour time frame. We have this order block, the last sell before the buy, which led to this break. becomes your order block, right? So since this is a 4-hour order block, what are we supposed to do? Once the market comes to that area, you are supposed to go to the 15 minutes time frame. All right. So from the 15 minutes time frame, we have the last break of structure, which is also very strong because first of all we see it sweeping liquidity first. We have a sweep of that eye before we have a sweep of that eye before market came to give a break to the downside. Then we had a very good change of character. Then now once you see that, guys, there is nothing else we are supposed to wait for. You can see it was the right time of the day during the New York session. So you'll just find a place to enter. And you can see we have this order block. The last sell candle before the buy movement becomes your order block. That was a very good area to take your entry. We can also see we have an inversion fair value gap here. That is also a good area. If you don't want to use the order block, you can use this inversion fair value gap for your entry. Also, you can also use this breaker block here because remember this was our supply zone when the market gave us this break. So if the market violate this supply, it becomes your breaker block, right? So this also would have been a very good zone. You place your entry above here, then your stop loss below there, and then the target should be above here. So we are anticipating for the BTC to come all the way and take out that I. So once we take out that I, we'll have a new structure. So assuming now someone took this entry from this area, assuming someone took this entry from this area, you can see already the market is running 1:4 risk to reward. So if you, even if you are targeting 1:3, your target was it around this area. If you have a stomach to hold, you can still hold because you are anticipating the market to come and take out that high. All right. So currently we don't have a re-entry yet, so we are just going to wait and see what the market will do. We are anticipating the market to push all the way and take out this eye. Once we take out this eye, we'll have a new structure. All right. So for now, BTC is very bullish unless the structure tells us a different story. So until we see a new structure being created, we are still bullish. Internally, the market is very bullish. All right. So for now, I don't have much on BTC USD. So the next pair is gonna be NAS 100. So what are we seeing on NAS 100? So from NAS 100, I remember the analysis we did last time. We were looking for selling opportunity on NAS 100. And that is exactly what the NAS has done during this week. NAS has pushed all the way down and now we have a new break of structure. So, okay, if I start the analysis from one and daily time frame, maybe I can, but I will just explain my analysis. Let me just remove all this and do this analysis afresh. We delete everything and let's have our analysis together. So you see this is a last bullish break of structure to the upside, right? Which swept liquidity first from the low. Market came down, gave us a change of character, pushed up to react from this supply zone here, and since then we have been selling to the downside. So there is not much to talk about on 4-hour time frame. So if I look at the internal structure here, because this is where we expect the market to come all the way to take out this low. So I'm just going to pay attention to the last structure that the market has created because that is what we are going to trade. We have this one as our last internal break of structure to the downside, right? Which is a very strong break because you can see sweeping liquidity here. We have a sweep of liquidity before market coming down to give us a break to the downside. All right. So if you have to mark your point of interest, you can see we have that supply zone around that area. That is your extreme point of interest. I can see that we are having a support zone here, right? We have that support zone here, which we are hoping to turn to be our support zone because you see market reacted from that there, pushed up, came, had a reaction from there, we broke, came up, reacted from there again. So this support, we broke above, we came, market reacted from the same support, pushed up, we broke to the downside. So we are anticipating the market to come to this area, react from here, and then we continue selling. Is it at the right place? If we pick our fib, we place from the high to the low, you can see that zone is sitting under premium, making it to be a very good zone for us to sell from. So of course, we're gonna be waiting to see what the 15 minutes will do around this area. If the 15 minutes time frame gives you a change of character around this area, then we look for that selling opportunity to the downside, right? So as at now, we'll be looking for sales on NAS 100 because that is what the bias of the market is telling us. We are very bearish. So watch out for this zone. And again, guys, once I mark this point of interest, does not mean that this is a point that you should be going ahead and selling, seeking or sell opportunity from there. All right. That is not what I mean. I mean, you need to see what the market will do. These are the area that we are anticipating to see reaction from. All right. We have this support zone, which we are hoping to turn to be our resistance zone. And we also have this order block that is sitting at the extreme here. So it's up to you now to wait for and see what the market will do here. Wait for that M formation inside this zone from the 15 minutes time frame. A change of character. You wait to see the 15 minutes time frame showing an indication of sales. That is, until then, we are not going to trade anything. Okay. So that is it on that. We also have Howdy USD. So I will start from the daily time frame. So Howdy USD from the daily time frame, we can see it is very bullish because we have this one as our last break of structure. So market came to this demand zone here from the daily time frame. We can see we have a very good demand zone. This is our protected loss since it swept all this liquidity. Then we see the market coming and it's reacting from that zone. All right. So, but also we also need to pay attention to the internal of this time frame. You see, this is our last internal break of structure. If market really wants to buy, then it has to take out this high, right? First of all, it has to take out this high. Once we take out that high, then we'll have an internal change of character. I hope you are getting me. Once we take out this high, we'll have an internal change of character because anything can happen. Market can come, react from an order block because you can see we have an order block around this area here. Where we are having a reaction is at now also. From the daily time frame, we can see we have that order block. Market is currently reacting from there. So market can react from there and then push down to take out this low. All right. So we are at this point of time, we are not sure of anything until we break this high. So once we break this high, then we'll have an internal change of character, and then you can look for buying opportunity to take out this high. So until then, the internal is still bearish. All right. So let's go down to the lower time frame now. So from the 4 hour time frame, so whatever seems to be internal on the daily time frame becomes a swing on the 4 hour time frame. All right. So you see, we have this is the last break of structure to the downside. We are seeing the market currently reacting from this order block from the daily time frame. We also have this 4 hour order block that is resting above here, which I'm strongly anticipating for a market to come to this area because I was anticipating market to use this trend line liquidity here. All right, for market to push up, sweep all this liquidity, and then come to react from this area, or maybe this fair value gap around this area, and then we'll be looking for selling opportunity from there. So looking at the market internally, that is from the 1 hour time frame. So from the 1 hour time frame, what are we seeing? This was the last break of structure here to the upside, right? We have this one as our last strong BOS, which swept this internal liquidity, and then we have this break of structure. Since then, market never gave us a pullback. All right. So now the market has shown us a change of character here, meaning the market is currently in a pullback phase. So whatever is happening here is just a pullback phase. When you go to the 4 hour time frame, I'm having these 2 points of interest here. I am having this breaker block here because when the market was pushing down here, this was the last internal break, right? Meaning this was supposed to be my supply zone. This supply failed. Market closed above. So now it becomes my breaker block. So I have this point of interest and I also have this order block that is sitting here on the 4 hour time frame. But since the market is far away from this one, I'm gonna use this, put this one on painting. Then I have this zone here. All right. So I will then be anticipating the market to come to this area and then we look for buys. So if I pick my fib, place from the high to the low, we can see that the point of interest of mine, they are resting at the right place. They are all sitting at the discount, okay, which is a good thing. So this is my last internal break of structure to the upside. So what are we seeing? Let me use a different color to differentiate that from this one. So going to the 15 minutes time frame, what are we seeing? You can see that the 15 minutes time frame, this is the last bullish break, which swept this liquidity before coming to break to give you a change of character. What happens? Market pushed up, swept this high, gave you a break to the downside, meaning we have a very strong BOS to the downside. So on Friday, I had these 2 point of interest once I saw this break of structure. I had this supply zone here, and I also had this supply zone here. But I saw market doing this. Market pushed down, gave me another BOS here, swept this liquidity first before coming to break this low. And then since the market has created a new structure, I said, okay, I will be marking this point of interest here to be my supply zone to sell from, right? Again, I didn't take this trade because you can see it is past the New York session, and I don't like taking trades past my trading window. So if you'd like to wait for confirmation, then you need to go to the 5 minutes time frame. And from the 5 minutes time frame, what are we waiting for? We are waiting for M formation. You can see you have a push, pullback, a break to the downside. So we are anticipating to see this low being taken out. If the market breaks below this low, then that will be our confirmation, guys. We'll be looking for a pullback, and then we take our trade to the downside. But currently, market has not yet shown us an intention of giving us a change of character. So without that change of character, no entry, guys. That is how serious you should be as a trader. So assuming the market will open and push down to give you this break, then you should be looking for your entries around this area. That will be your supply zone. Why is it? Because you can see it sweeping this internal structure first before pushing down. All right, so that will be a very good zone for you to sell from. You can also make sure to include this fair value gap, that inversion fair value gap, right, like that. Or maybe you can use this zone here. All right, but this will be a very good zone to sell from, assuming the market will continue selling to the downside to give you this break. All right, so whatever we are looking for is just a short term sales. The same thing we are having on Euro USD, guys. Remember, this is a dollar pair. So we are looking for short term sales for a market to come to these areas, and then we look for buying opportunity. Right. So thank you, guys. That is it for today's video. So if maybe I have not analyzed the pair that you trade, you can use the same concept, guys, to analyze the market. All right. And in case you are finding any challenge, let me know in the comment section, and maybe I will help you analyze your pair this coming Wednesday. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.